Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rhino Exploration. Today we are in the garage. We are going to be doing some upgrades to the Jeep. Last weekend my parents came up for a visit and brought me all of my Jeep parts that I bought about over a year and a half ago. So we have all these parts. Over the course of this weekend and next weekend we are going to be installing those up onto the Jeep. But for today we are going to be installing these items, so stay tuned, guys. Alright everybody, welcome. So today, as I mentioned before, we have some things to install on the Jeep. So today the goal is to install 3 different items and kind of investigate how we're going to install some of the others. So what we're going to be installing is a tailgate table on the Jeep. I have a Tazer JL Mini that I just recently got that we have programmed, and we are going to install that onto the Jeep. And we are also going to be, if we have enough time, I think we should, we are going to be installing the bumper, the KC bumper lights that I have. So we got some projects to get done today. It's going to be probably a long day here in the garage, but it's going to be fun, and I'm going to take you guys on the journey with me, okay? I am going to apologize in advance. I do live near a main road, so you're going to hear some of the cars coming in and out of the neighborhood as we go, but that is just the nature of it, and we are going to press on. So first, let's go and look at the items that we have, and then we will start unboxing them and getting the process started for installing. And we're going to start with the tailgate table once we unbox all those. So let's go take a look, guys. All right, guys, so let's unbox these things. So I ordered these a while back on like a Labor Day sale back in like 2021. So it kind of tells you how long they've been sitting here. So at that time I was still living in Hawaii, and the price to have it shipped to Hawaii costs twice as much as the product costs. So instead, I decided to have the free shipping used to send it to my parents who live in New Mexico. Well, now that I'm back here in the States and had to wait for them to come up to visit, now we have them all. So now we have the ability to put them to good use, which I'm very excited about. Alright, so that's one done. And yes, we are using the back of the D100 as my workbench at the moment, because it is a pickup truck. Why not use it like a pickup truck's supposed to be, you know? Alright guys, so here is our tailgate table. I'm going to take out the plastic here soon. But here it is. And it is all ready to go. Well, did you look at that, guys? The thing looks pretty nice. I'm super excited to get this up on the Jeep today. There she is. That's out. We got the instructions right there, the table itself, and we're going to start, and I'm going to show you guys some of the other stuff that we got tucked back over here, because we got a lot of parts in here that are all just for the Jeep, so we have some things to get going. So I was just going over lay instructions. Yes, I'm a man and I use instructions. It's not normal, but I want to make sure it's done correctly. So I was just going through the instructions, reading them, making sure I understood how this part needs to be removed, the plastic needs to be removed, after it's removed, what needs to go where, so that this whole process kind of goes as smoothly as possible. I do have the spare parts that are just down here. You can see the little green there in the corner. Those are the parts that are going to be going in here, which we will see once I start removing the plastic off of here. But yeah, so let's get started removing this lovely piece of plastic. We're gonna be doing this a little slowly. I don't want to break things. I don't want to damage things. So we are going to take our time. So let's begin. Alright, so according to this, we need to start here in this lower left-hand corner. So let's begin. So, I know I'm using a regular flathead screwdriver. I don't have a plastic clip remover yet. That is one thing I do want to get. So if you are doing it the way I'm doing it, it's one of the other reasons why I'm taking my time, is you don't want to scratch anything. And because I don't have the plastic clip remover, I want to make sure that, this does the same job. I just want to make sure that I go slowly and get it done right. But this is coming off pretty easily. And voila, there we have it. Piece one off. So we have just a few things to remove. These couple little plastic pieces didn't come out. I'm gonna grab my needle noses. Alright, needle nose pliers. Let's get these couple plastic pieces that didn't come out. There we go. Beautiful. For those of you that have always wondered what the back of the Jeep looks like, without this, there you go. Alright, so next it states that these little plastic pieces need to go into these little holes right here. And basically this is going to be part of the mounting process. Now the kit provides 10 of these, you only need 9 and 1 is a spare. Alright, so here's a close-up of those little plastic pieces. We're going to take these and they're going to go into these holes here, guys, and it's as simple as pushing it in. Let's see if I can do it. Oh, I may need to get a little mallet to push these in. There we go. Nope, just need to be smarter than what I'm working with. So we have 9 of these, so we got to put these in across the top here. There's these 3 down here, and we need to put 1 in here. We're not going to put things in some of these other holes because they have other stuff that's going to go there. We have our 9 tabs in here in the spot, so we're going to move on to the next step in this whole installation process. The goal is to start the mounting process. So we had to open up the tailgate table, which, let's see if the camera turns it for me. There it is. So it's nice and open. It's actually really pretty. But the goal is to have this open, hold it, and start mounting it with the screws. Now, I, at the moment, am an army of 1. Lindsay is out and about doing things that she wanted to do. So, let's see how this goes. So let's get you guys positioned. There we go. It's supposed to hold. Like so. So you guys are aware, I guess I know I'm blocking camera, that the instructions do state to hand screw these in. Let's move you up here so I can at least talk to you for a second. They do say to screw them in with a screwdriver, hand tighten everything. Not to use a drill or a power screwdriver or anything of that nature, because they don't want you to over torque them or break off the bolts. So next, guys, we have to put this screw in, which actually goes right here, and it is a big screw. So we are going to go ahead and tighten that into place, and then we will proceed on to the next steps. So in order to screw that in, I need to change out the head on my screwdriver, so you can have the bigger size. And all right, so we got project 1 done. The tailgate table is on, it works, it's functional. There was only one piece that I didn't put on the table, which was these. I didn't care for them. I thought they, you stuck them on there, they're supposed to make it easier to open and close. I stuck them on there, and honestly, it kind of was preventing the pins from going into the table to help hold it in place. It was kind of just falling out, so I removed them all together. It's no big deal, they were optional anyways. But here is the table. Tailgate table is installed. That was actually a really easy install. It probably would have been a little helpful to have someone else when you first trying to put that table up there, but I was able to balance it on my knees, and I was able to get it on there. But it was actually a really easy install, and it is really secure on there. One thing to be note, just from what the instructions said and just from installing it, don't use a drill to install it. It may seem like it'll be faster and easier, but they say in the instructions not to over torque it, and I can understand why, because those little green clips could easily break if you were to do it too much. Luckily I didn't break anything, so that was one good thing. But it is an easy install. And then I also installed the basically the big knife magnet that you can hang your knives on when you're cooking and stuff at camp. I did install that. I will show you guys that when we do the full kind of presentation at the end of everything that was done on the Jeep today. But we did do that. So now we're going to grab the Tazer JL Mini, and we're going to install that into the computer system on the Jeep. Alright guys, so now we're in the front of the Jeep. We're actually up here by the driver's side door. We are going to go ahead and install our Tazer JL Mini into the Jeep. I do have my laptop with me because it does have more instructions. Yes, I'm following lots of instructions today. But we are going to follow the instructions, and to begin, we have got to access behind this panel. That is where the computer programmer sits, so that's where we're going to get into, so we can then unplug, replug in, and then we will go over to the laptop and follow the installation instructions. So let's start by getting this panel off. Okay guys, so we got that panel off. I'm going to be real with you. That panel, you had to give it one hell of a tug to get it off, and I was so afraid I was going to break something, but I didn't. But Jeep sure as hell didn't want you taking off that panel, and sure as hell didn't want you it to fall out, that's for sure. So we're gonna put this out on the floor, and what we're looking for, located where the plugs are. So you have your computer plug in here where you can access what's going on with engine sensors, things like that. You have some other plugs right up here. The ones we are aiming for, I'm gonna apologize, it's gonna be a little tight to get the camera in here, are these two plugs. Let's see, focus, thank you. Nope, focus. There it is. The best of I can get it. Right there, those two black plugs, we have to get those out and plug them into the Tazer JL Mini. So I'm gonna have to put the camera down, and I'm gonna plug them, and then I'll bring you guys back, because I'm sorry, I have fat fingers in a small space. not gonna fit well with me in a camera. Got those 2 plugs undone. What a pain in the butt those plugs were. My fingers did not fit up in that tiny little area to get the little clips that are on the back side and then pull them down. Lord. Yeah, it took 2 hands and a lot of fighting with it, but we got it. So let me flip this. So here are our 2 plugs. These 2 plugs are about to plug into that Tazer, and then we will start going through the startup process and getting it all installed with the computer system. So let's see, shall we? All right, guys. Let us plug these in, get them lined up just right here. That's 1. Make sure she's seated all the way, and let's get this one in. And now she's seated all the way. Got our little blinking light going on here. It's telling me that it's configuring. I got through the menu setting. I'll show you guys how I did that in just a second. But I wanted to show you that I am having the system marry to the Jeep. Basically, I'm getting it to familiarize that this is where it's going to be always, is with this Jeep. So it says it's married. Now, how did I get to this setting? Well, I kept flipping through just in engine run mode. It's not on, it just have power on. And what I did was I kept flipping till I got to the audio. And once I got to the audio setting, I held down this arrow key and pressed canceled. What that did was it opened up this menu and then I could scroll through it. It's a little hard to do with one hand, but I am going to show you guys because I can multitask. So I can keep scrolling through for TPMS, radio, lighting. I can start going through all their different options and setting these to what I want for the Jeep. Got ourselves a little light show going on, guys. This is part of what the Tazer can do as a sequence. This is just the back. It's kind of hard to see the front in the sunlight, but I wanted to show you guys this function real quick. It's actually pretty cool, huh? So we're going to test it out. I'm going to give you guys a review on how this goes after, I'll say about a month or so. We'll get a good feel for it, and then we'll do, the short-term review, a long-term review. We're going to just see how this works. I'm very curious to see how it works. But so far, the setup was fairly easy. It just requires 2 hands. All right, guys. So we are going to take the Jeep, flip it around, and start working on the bumper lights. Project 2 down. We got the JL Mini Tazer installed. We have the tailgate table installed. Now, I want to work on the front bumper lights, which we're going to do here in a second. What I'm going to do first, though, is I'm going to finish wiring up the GMRS, the radio, the antenna wire to the radio itself. So we're going to route that up through the way I want to. That should take, I don't know, maybe 30-ish minutes. And then we will get to the bumper lights. We're doing pretty good on time. So let's go ahead and do that. And we will then hit the all-famous bumper lights. As I promised, so I do have my GMRS radio. And I do have it hanging off of my Molly panel solutions. I thought it was a great place for it to hang. And so it's been up here. Now how I wired this was, it is wired to the, up towards the front of the Jeep where the battery is, and up so that it can come on when I turn on the ignition. But I ran the wire up through here. So see these wires going up into here, but I have it running up through the plastic here, underneath this whole thing, down here, up through here, all the way through the plastic and out through the little hole that I have, that other wires have been running through in here. But it is up here, and it does work great. I have tested it out already, and I do have the microphone for it. There it is. So we will be hooking that up, but The one thing that is not hooked up, and it's right hooked up back here is the wiring. Well, I shouldn't say the wire, it's the antenna connector. So we have this. Now, the day I was installing this, quick little backstory. So the day I was installing this, it was in the 50s, and as I was doing this, I was taking my time doing this. It took like 2 hours to get it all to this point, because I was doing little things, but it was in the 50s. It was really nice out. Then the temperatures dropped as the sun was setting, so I got the wire into the Jeep for the antenna, and I just tucked it up out of the way, and I said, I'll finish it later. Well, it's been 2 weeks, so we're actually going to finish it, because what I have to do is undo, let's see if I can show you. I got to undo this again, take all this off, and I have to run the wire up through the dash again. I'm going to have to remove this speaker cover, run it up through here, up through the top, and then over to here again. And it just plugs in right back here. And then the GMRS radio will be completely finished. That install will be done. And the antenna for now is right there. I have another bracket that I eventually want to get, but for now, what came with it is good. So it's hanging out right there. So we're going to finish installing that real quick. Get that all done. Like I said, maybe 30 minutes at most. It shouldn't take long. I know exactly how I want to do it. And then we will start working on the bumper lights, because that may be I start that process and then finish it later. We will see. We have lots of time still in the day and lots of light. So let's get started on finishing this project first, then we will move to that one. Lots of projects today, guys. I know I kind of said it from the beginning. We had a lot of things we were going to accomplish, and what's nice is so far all these projects have gone very smoothly, so it's making it easier to do. But let's finish wiring up this, get that project done, and then we will move on to the next. I've never had to remove this part before. There are two 10mm bolts right underneath these little covers, and when you remove it, you have to pull a little hard, because there are some little clips that hold it in place, but this easily moves out of the way. So when I remove this, you're going to see a couple other wires that I ran for the radio itself already. These bolts in particular are quite long. There we go. Set those in my cup holder so I don't lose them. Should be able to give this. So make sure you move the visor out of the way. It can sometimes, like last time, I extended this out just to get it out of the way, because it will block this, and then if you pull it, you don't want to accidentally go Hulk on it and break it out, and then you destroy your visor in the process. And so, move this little cover for the speakers out of the way, and then that pulls out just like that, guys. So, let's spin you all around. So if you see here, this is the normal wiring harness that runs for your home link system up here in the Jeep, your lights, things like that. They all run kind of out over here, but this is mostly for the home link system. This is the power supply for the GMRS radio. I already have it in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this wire down here, run it up through the dash, and kind of out just like I did here. But first I do need to remove this speaker. All I do is unbolt it and move it out of the way. It's really easy. It's like 2 screws, and then it allows me to kind of fit my massive size hands down into there to pull it up. So I removed the 2 bolts. So there's one that goes here and one that goes right over here. So once you remove it, you can pull the speaker. This is the little front speaker. And all I did last time was move it kind of out of the way. I could unplug it. It's very easy to, but for me, all I need is to be able to get in here. So you can see here is that the speaker doesn't attack me. So here is the power wire that I was telling you about before. So this wire runs up into here. So what we're gonna do is do kind of the same thing. I'm gonna run that other cable right up through here and in. So I'm gonna go ahead and run that up, and then I will bring you guys back. It through where the glove compartment is. So what we're going to do is we're now going to run it up through the dash, out through this speaker box here. Which this becomes the fun part because I have big fingers and a very, very tiny space. But what's nice is that the antenna wire is much thicker, much stronger, so I can kind of push it and it will go the direction I want it to, versus the other wire when I installed in here. It did not, did not want to play nice at all. And there we go, got it through. Having that wire be so much thicker and so much stronger to just be able to push it up that way made a load of difference. Okay, now pull some slack up in here. This is caught on. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So now this is here. We're not going to put this on just yet. We need to run this up through the top here. Once we get it ran up through the top here, gonna get this out of the way now again, we will then run it all the way across and plug it in up over here. So that's what we're going to work on. So to do so, I have to pull this visor back down again, which isn't terrible, but you do have to. And the last time I did this, I removed my top. So let's remove the top, shall we? There we go. Get the top moved, be able to work on things. All right, guys, so let's get this kind of going here. There she goes. So to remove this top part, there's just some, they're like push-in clips and they pull out really nicely. Now the trick is to not bend the plastic so much that those clips don't want to go back into place, because those clips can sometimes act a little stubborn when it comes to putting them back up in there. So we are going to continue to wire this up and across, just like so. I'm going to make it come out right through there. Alright guys, the antenna is now wired up through the pillar, across the top, and there she is. She's all plugged in. I just got to tighten it up here. Let's tighten it up. Beautiful. And then we just got to finish pulling that wire through, which, look at that, now it's through, and put our glove box back into place here. Make sure you get that little in there. All right, beautiful. So now, last step is to pull this wire through into the engine bay, zip tie all the extra off so it looks nice and clean. But we now have, if I plug her in up here, our GMRS radio all set in and good to go. So 3 down, 1 more to go. We're gonna see how far we can get in this process, because I have a couple other things that I need to get done today, but I have a few hours still to go before that time comes. So we are going to start working on the bumper lights. We need to figure out just how we want to get them onto the bumper itself. I'm not sure where I want to place them, because I also have to keep in mind that we do have to take off the bumper next weekend when we do the whole winch plate, all that installation. So we're going to start working on these. It may just come down to we're going to mock it up, see how it goes, and then that's how we will do it, and we will just end up doing it next weekend when we do all the stuff, other stuff on the bumper. But let's go and find out. But so far, I'm very pleased that in a few hours we have accomplished 3 other installs, and now we can move on to this. So with that being said, let's move our butt over to the bumper and see what we can figure out. How we want to do this is looking off at this bumper here. We have all these little bolts. Now these bolts here are holding up this little plate that's in place of where the winch is going to sit. That is going to change next weekend. But we do have these 2 bolts on either side that sit there off to there, and we also have this bolt here that kind of sit in front of the headlights. So I'm debating on where I want to set this. Do we want to set it through where this bolt would sit, so it's sitting in front of the headlights? Or would we rather sit it in either this front bolt or this back bolt, kind of up out of the way, more in the middle? Now I'm personally thinking, let's not break things. I'm personally thinking that sitting it here in this back bolt would look really good. It wouldn't be right underneath the headlight. It's kind of off to the side, and it's not going to be sitting up front, so that it, further up, it's kind of sitting further back, and then we have more of a chance of it not being in the way of any part of the winch. So I think we're going to start by taking out this bolt here and seeing that if we take it out, we can set this in there, try, mock install it, see if we like it there. If not, we have the ability to move it to any of the other spaces. But for now, let's try and see what it looks like starting from here. All right, when you lose one camera, what do? You go to the next. All right, so to reiterate, before I lost all my cameras, we remove that bolt. Let's mock in that light. It's over on the truck's bed. So what we're gonna do is remove that bolt out of there. Yeah, so this bolt right here, I think it'll fit in the bumper just fine, but it's being blocked here, if you can see, by the plastic of the light. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove these 2 ends and pull this part off, and then we will put it on there. Okay guys, so I'm going to pull you off of here real quick so I can show you a little closer. So I took off the bolt that came with the bracket, and I just kind of mocked it in here using the OEM bolt from the bumper itself, because this head was too big and I didn't feel like trying to drill and tap it all the 9 yards that it took. So now we're going to mount the light up on there and see what she looks like up on the bracket itself. So let's go grab that light. So it's going to be a bit of a interesting time, because now I gotta try and balance a few things here without breaking my light. That would be a bad thing. There. Haha. What do we think? What do we think of her with that light right there? I think she looks pretty good with it right there. If I'm being honest, guys, I think I like it right there. Let's mock up the other one and see how it goes. That way, we'll put you back up on here so y'all can be a part of it. So we're gonna put the other one over here in this spot. And we're gonna do the whole same process, same thing, see how it goes, and mock it up and take a look. Because if we like it right there, then we will button everything down and start dealing with the wiring harness. So. pretty good right there, guys. Huh? What do we think? Look pretty good sitting on front of the Jeep just like that. I will admit, I like it. We can always adjust them a little bit, make sure they're pointed completely straight. For the most part, they're looking pretty good. So, now that I think I like them right there, what I think I'm going to do now is we are going to work on figuring out how we want to run the wiring harness up under here and taking it back up under over there. This is if we flip this on. There it goes. So if we get it all wired up back there, we can get it plugged into the aux beam system that's tucked up back there, and then we will have our lights. And we can add more wires to our area here. After my last install, I need to clean it up a bit. But that's what we're going to do next, guys. So let's start figuring out the wiring. So, we've got them locked in there. I'm going to tighten them all down. I think I like where they are. We have some figuring out to do with the wiring. So, I did get it wired up. We do know it works. So, that is a plus. So, the wiring is working at the moment. But how I have it is I removed that little cover that helps protect the sway bar, disconnect everything. I took it out because it's not going to matter. It's got to go away anyways because the winch is going in next weekend. So it didn't matter in the slightest. So I have the wires. They are, let me see if I can get this light on. Here we go. The wires are actually tucked up. You can kind of see how it's running right here. I have it tucked up underneath the front of the grill at the moment. The front plastic, there's actually a little lip just underneath here. I have the wires tucked up under there. These wires are super, super long that connect between that light and that light. It is super long. So I think when I do the winch, once I know how the winch is going to sit in here, I'm going to trim up some of those wires, clean it up, make them, kind of more of a custom fit to the whole mechanism, because that right now is just, it's a little chaotic. However, how did I run the wires? So I ran the wires, so all the excess is tucked up under here for right now. I ran them through here, through the back side of here, because there was a nice little gap. I didn't have to remove this, the front of the grill off or anything at the moment. So I ran it up under here, and you can kind of see it tucked up right here. So I ran it out through this little piece of the tube and through this way. And then right behind where the air intake is here, there's enough space. Let's see if I can get it. Yep, you can see it. I tucked the wire in. So what I'm going to do here in a little bit is I'm actually going to unscrew this front part of the air intake and actually get that sat down there better, because I'm not a big fan of how it looks at the moment, but I am going to get it in there. So then I ran the wiring. It's still here. So guys, I have not buttoned up the wiring or anything yet. I'm still figuring out how I want to set it. So for now, this is that other part of the wire. Like I said, it is stupid long. Stupid long. So all this may get trimmed up, which will help clean this up a bit. Then I ran the wiring into all, kind of into my wire bundle I have here. Now I took my cover off of this, so this looks a lot worse than it is. Ran it up, plugged it into the aux beam switch, and then I ran the cord I needed to over to the negative terminal. So the wiring is hooked up there. And you kind of saw how it was. They are bright. Now I'm debating, should I twist them out a little bit, kind of make them more of a little bit of an angled light so they're not quite just directly dead on, or do I want to make them a little more dead on? Debating. But that's all to come still, because I still have to do the winch next weekend, so we can do a little more finicking. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it. And I'm going to button them up, tighten them down for the week so that they're good, they're on there. Just kind of test them out one night. Just take them, find an empty road and test it out and see how they work. Kind of mess with them, get them all buttoned down, figure out how exactly I want them. But I like it. I think they look pretty good how they are. And so I'm going to finish plugging in them wires, cleaning them up, and then we will go from there. Accomplished our 4 projects: the tailgate table, the front bumper lights, we finished wiring up the antenna for the GMRS radio, and we got the Tazer JL Mini installed. We had a lot of little projects to do today. We got them all accomplished, and everything is working and running super well. So I'm very excited to see how all those installations work out in the long run. I will do reviews on them. It's just going to take some time. Just installed them. We'll do a short-term and a long-term review, and if issues arise, I will make sure that I am sharing that with you guys. So thank you so much for joining me today here in the garage, and I'll see you all next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. I'll just throw that anywhere, why not? Alright. Throwing things anywhere. Throw that anywhere, why not? Holy shit. And then if time permits, these things, I know you guys have seen it several times on the channel already. They are coming out of the box. We are going to stick these on the front of the Jeep. Today is the goal. If not, it will be finished by next weekend. But we are finally gonna get these things out of the box and stick them on the Jeep, because I am so sick and tired of dragging these from across the ocean, and they're still not on the Jeep.